get this, the attention that women pay to the outlines of men's genitals as seen through their clothing becomes, when it has been repressed, I was thinking, when I read that, I was thinking, I know guys gawk at girls, but I didn't know girls gawk at guys. I did have a girl tell me once, some girls look, they see if they can see the size or whatever, but that doesn't mean that they're as perverted as guys are with always staring and stuff. But Freud thinks that they are, but that they repress that. Okay, so women do not look at men's genitals through the outline of their genitals through their clothing, but they want to really bad, and they repress that, and this repression becomes a frequent case of avoiding company and of dreading society. So girls try not to be around guys in the wrong situations. Girls try to avoid the company of men because they want really badly to look at the men's genitals through their clothing. Quote, "It is scarcely possible to exaggerate the significance of the comprehensive tie uniting the sexual and the excremental." So we can hardly exaggerate this. Sexuality and poop are extremely tied together. The comprehensive tie uniting the sexual and the excremental. A tie which is at the basis of a very large number of hysterical phobias. I don't know what he's referring to with the hysterical phobias bit, but wow, just when you think he cannot surprise you anymore. I do have one more quote I've outlined here, but I think that we can I think that we can stop on that climax, pun intended, of Freud associating poop with sex. I don't have time to finish this because I'm 30 years old, and I figure I've only got 30 or 40 or 50 years to live. So I don't think I'll be finishing this book. I think I know enough about Freud, and you can decide for yourselves, ladies and gentlemen, whether he's a genius or a disgusting, demented pervert. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I've decided to do a little bit more on the Freudian series from Leonard Peikoff. We're just going to take what he has to say about it. I thought that would be a good way to wind up because he has some pretty good stuff to say about Freud. This is from the Ominous Parallels. I'm going to start with Freud on Nazis because we all know what the Nazis are about and what they did and stuff. And then we're just going to take three other quotes from the book, and then we'll be done with the Freud series. I promise. I'm sick of it. I can't believe how right the people were who derogated Freud, who, you know, I've heard Freud was just a pervert and stuff, and that's more correct than I ever dreamed it could be. Alright, Freud on Nazis. The first quote here was from page 21. "Then there was the Freudian interpretation, according to which the cause of Nazism is the Germans' Oedipus complex, or their death wish, or their toilet training, etc. This evades the fact that arbitrary constructs, such as Freud is famous for, can be manipulated to explain everything, and therefore explain nothing." Right? We definitely saw that in the way that Freud's stuff went on. It was just, he could, like a fortune teller, he could do anything. He could do anything. So, very accurate notice there. Now, on the second quote concerning Nazism, Bruno Bettelheim, despite many brilliant insights, interprets the camps from the perspective of the standard Freudian categories. So he was a writer about survivors and about the camps and stuff. And here's what he thought of the camps, and he came from Freudian interpretation. Bruno Bettelheim, B-E-T-T-E-L-H-E-I-M. He comes from Freudian categories, quote, which explain nothing. Parenthesis. The inmate's preoccupation with food and elimination indicates regression, right? Because they've gone backwards to their basic instincts that they had when they were a little brat. The marchers to the crematoria, people just walked right into the crematoria, quote, had permitted their death tendencies to flood them, end quote, etc., end parenthesis, period. So, you have a death tendency, and if it overcomes you, someone might build concentration camps, and there might be a law passed, and people will march into crematoria. Or is that just bizarre? That's just bizarre. I mean, you can't explain the death camps on the basis that there's a death instinct, which there's not. So, alright. Now here we are. I'm going to go backwards a bit to page 198 now. Now there's this guy named Lacour. I'm sure that it gave his full name somewhere, but it's not here in the footnotes. It's probably above. L-A-Q-U-E-U-R. That's the guy's name. And Peikoff's got a quote here we're going to read from. It was from the New York Times Magazine, August 16th, 1970, page 13. And the title of the column was "The Cry Was, Down with the System." That was the cry back then during the Nazi era. Here's what Lacour observes about America. Certain cultural parallels between Weimar Germany and America in 1970 are almost uncanny. The phenomenal revival of astrology and various quasi-religious cults. Do we have that today? Astrology and religious cults in America? The great acclaim given to prophets of doom. Man, how about those global warming people? And how about their movie 2012? Or if that's not their movie, how about 2012, huh? Isn't that something in itself? The success of highly marketable Weltschmerz. I don't know, Schmerz doesn't sound like a good word, but Welt means a world in some context. Weltschmerz in literature and philosophy. The spread of pornography, the use of drugs, the appearance of charlatans of every possible description. Yeah, right, today we have magicians and people who talk to the dead and herbal, anything you want. Herbal anything. You want to cure anything. You want more energy. You want to feel better. You don't want to be depressed. You want your love life to go better. You want to be able to study. You want better memory. They've got an herb. Just go talk to an herbalist. He'll hook you up. Charlatans of every description, including herbalism, and the enthusiastic audiences welcoming them. As reason is drowned, what are we hearing? My God, can it be the people are cheering? A line from my own poem called Colleges and Universities. Okay, so all of these are common to both periods. That's the end of the quote from Lacour, or Lacour, or whatever his name is. On to what Peikoff says. There were also movements which purported to speak to the Germans, and later to the Americans, in the name of science. So here are some movements that said, we are scientific. The most widely known, fiercely denounced both by traditionalists and by communists, was a movement whose world capital in the 1920s was Berlin. The psychoanalysis of Sigmund Freud. Even the communists were sensible enough to hate Sigmund Freud. Freud's students or admirers in Germany at the time included, among many other of similar prominence today, Karen Horney, H-O-R-N-E-Y, bit Freudian of a name there, isn't it? Otto Fenichel, Erich Fromm, F-R-O-M-M, man, he pops up once in a while, Herbert Marcuse, Erik Erikson, and Wilhelm Reich. Erik Erikson, second to last name there. Identity, Youth, and Crisis. Erik Erikson. I bought this for 50 cents. I bought this about 4-5 months ago now. I made it to page 28. I don't think I'll go a page further. I was going to do a video on it, say I don't know who this guy is, Erik Erikson. But for 50 cents, I thought I'll try some social sociology from the 60s and see what happens. I mean, this guy won a Pulitzer Prize and a National Book Award, right? So he's got to be worth there must be something there. This is utter tripe. Now I may do